Hi guys, welcome back to Jooseys Corner, and today, if you thought we were going to be talking about Dave Meltzer saying some stupid shit, you would be right, because we are here once again. Mr. Meltzer has some very interesting things to say about the upcoming new AEW television deal, and we are going to be taking a look at him and, of course, Brian Alvarez discussing that television deal or lack thereof. Dave insists that there is one. I'm going to be pausing throughout the watch along to give my comments in real time, so there is going to be a lot of stop-starting. Obviously, if you want to go through and watch the video in full to get the full context, you can, but otherwise, let's get to it. We're going to start checking out Dave's comments right now.
Check out this free video and make sure you hit like and subscribe. Including the top story today, John Oran in the newest edition of The Varsity talked about the television deal, AEW television deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. He stated a formal announcement could come as soon as next week. He said it looks like it will be a 4-year deal, 3 of those years guaranteed. The number floating around of $170 million per year is in the ballpark, he said. AEW programming on TNT, TBS, and True TV twice.
So for a 4-year deal or a 3-year deal with an option for the fourth, $170 million. I mean, that's not chump change as far as TV rights fees would go. Definitely pretty good for a company in the state that AEW is in creatively. Look at Alvarez's face there. He looks like he's trying to push out like a real big dookie after he's had some Chipotle.
A week. And also they are pitching a package of broadcast channels, no timetable for when they'll start to push that deal.
Again, no timetable for when they'll start to push that deal. So what is going on? Why all the tight-lippedness about it?
So really, this is pretty much everything we've been talking about. Ballpark number. True TV is new. And the twice a week, TBS, TNT, and True TV twice a week. I presume that means we're going to have replays of the main shows?
That's a good question. I don't know, because if it's 2 shows a week and 3 channels, then that would inherently mean replays.
Would it really?
I had presumed that.
Like, what about AEW Dark or Ring of Honor or something like that? None of that's in the talks for the third channel. It's automatically replays. I mean, that might not be such a bad inference. I'm not going to hold that against Dave. He could be very well right that replays are on the cards. But I don't necessarily know that that's a sound automatic assumption to make.
There was a good shot of something on True because they're trying to rebrand True as a sports channel in prime time from 8 to 11 every night. So I had thought that maybe that I had thought, and again, this is just speculation on my part.
Nitpicky here. I'll admit this is nitpicky, but True TV deciding that they're going to start offering a sports block between 8 and 11 p.m., that doesn't mean that they're rebranding as a sports channel. That means that they're integrating sports into their programming lineup. But again, nitpicky. Dave hasn't said anything too bonkers too far.
I thought that might be where like an ROH show might land, but and they didn't mention anything about. I mean, the $170 million a year number is a great number. The one thing is that does that number include the pay-per-views? And
why would it include the pay-per-views? The pay-per-views aren't aired on TV. They're aired on pay-per-view and streaming. Let's hear what he's going to say. I bet you he's going to mention HBO Max next. There are unsubstantiated rumors, that HBO Max might be a potential distribution platform for AEW's pay-per-views in the future. Let's continue.
And I don't have an answer for that other than the fact that there is a deal. The pay-per-views were expected on Max in some form were supposed to be part of this deal. That's one of the few things I've heard about the deal. The 2 shows a week is pretty much what I've heard, which means that the third show is the one that they're pitching elsewhere, which would be, Fox or FS1 or whatever, another Fox channel.
How many times is he going to say, yeah, whatever? He literally said the word whatever. So you don't know, bro. Just say, I don't know what that potential Fox channel would be. I don't know. I'd be speculating if I said I did. Why can't he just say that?
So either way, so if it's 170 million, not including the pay-per-views, that's one number. If that includes the pay-per-views, it's not as big as an increase as, it's not really technically a double, but it would be, it would be a substantial increase, so either way.
Someone pointed this out in the comments to this video I saw, so I can't verify it, but someone in the comments right underneath this video pointed out that the current deal is rumored to be 70 million, and this rumored new deal is rumored to be valued at 170, which would in fact mean that it is more than double the current deal.
If you use those numbers, if you're, in 2023, the company did between 90 and 110 million, not including the U.S. television rights. That would be foreign television, foreign rights, live shows, merchandise, sponsorships, pay-per-views.
See, he seems to have this understanding of like, okay, we've got this 90 to $100 million revenue number that AEW supposedly pulled in 2023, not including the US TV deals. But it doesn't seem like he's confidently reading that from a source of reliability. He seems to be just, because he's going, and foreign rights and merchandise. I'm really questioning, is he just making this up as he goes along? Or is he actually looking at reliable data and is able to actually look at a list and cite this? Because it doesn't feel like that at all. All right, I'm going to try and lay out for a while.
Just basically all revenue. So if you look at that, and the number will vary because there are more shows now than before as far as live shows, but the average attendance is also way down. As far as some of the other deals, when it comes to the international deals, next year opens up a lot of content only because WWE will be getting out of all of those international deals, Canada, UK, India, everywhere, Australia, Philippines, whatever country. And while that's not, international TV is not a giant number, and it's not a big number for AEW. It can grow bigger. The WWE deal in India and the UK are both substantial numbers. They're a lot more than the AEW deals and AEW does have deals in both those countries. And if those, Tony seems to have a pretty good relationship as far as with ITV4. I don't know if he would want to move, and I don't, the station in the UK that WWE is leaving is TNT Sports. So you already have that. Essentially, they're owned by WBD. So to make that move actually seems to make a lot of sense. But that would be a separate deal. That wouldn't be part of this deal. Is only for.
Okay, so there's a little bit to unpack there before we keep going. Dear God, we're only a quarter of our way through. Okay, I'm going to have to start speeding up. So, first of all, he's correct. TNT Sports in the UK is a thing over there. But in the UK, TNT Sports is a specialty channel hidden behind a paywall, and it is not as widely viewed in the UK as Sky Sports is, which is where AEW is currently airing in the UK. And for another thing, he just went on that huge 2 or 3 minute monologue about all the different things in this TV deal. Then he moved across to talking about UK TV rights, and then ended up saying that any potential deal between AEW and TNT Sports in the UK would be part of a separate deal. So he's said all that to wind up saying nothing, because he has literally just said nothing about the upcoming deal.
U.S. rights. But would they be looking to, replace that WWE programming with AEW programming? I mean, TNT Sports, you would think they probably are. But then does Tony want to leave ITV4, which gives them greater exposure, but probably would pay them less? And also on TNT Sports, they would be able to go live rather than a couple days delay. But then that would cannibalize the service, the monthly pay service that a lot of the UK fans have.
Dude, which is it? So you're talking about, okay, if they leave ITV, they'll get paid more, but they'll get less exposure because more people watch ITV. And then you're saying, if they leave ITV, they can go over here and get more money, but it'll cannibalize the paid subscription. So what are you talking about? Like, is Dave Meltzer capable of staying on one stream of thought and finishing a point, following through on a point?
Airs all the shows with no commercials for whatever the price is. I don't know if it's $5.99 a month or whatever. So that's all to be determined. India is a real interesting one, only because AEW doesn't have a giant television deal in India, and WWE does. They don't have a giant deal, but it's a show that's watched by a ton of people. AEW is not particularly popular there. WWE is very, very popular there. But WWE losing TV in India out of its own accord, because they're going to be going on Netflix, that opens up something that could potentially be really, really big. But anyway.
Another 2 minutes of him talking about unrelated deals to the one that he's supposed to be talking about. Anyway, people pay for this? If it's $170 million, and we'll just say that the other numbers are the same. There's no great increase or anything like that, and it would vary. I mean, it could be it would be more. It wouldn't be less. So we're probably talking about a $280 million a year, total deal, unless that 170 includes pay-per-views. If it includes pay-per-views, let's just. So it's just yes with an if, no with a but. That's essentially what he's doing. He's doing the Reverend Lovejoy thing. Yes with an if, no with a but. He has absolutely no concrete idea at all where the TV is going to end up. I think that 280 million, if you include the pay-per-view, on top of the 170, I think that was basically pulled out of his butt.
Say that's a little bit over 20 million for U.S. pay-per-views. Because I don't know that it would include international. Max does go into foreign countries, but I'm not sure which countries it does, and there are many countries it still doesn't go. So I'm going to figure that the international pay-per-view number, this would not include all international. There's no way it could. But if you do that, then you would get that number down to, let's say, $260 million as far as gross revenue. kind of estimated. It might be a little bit more. But with that number, you're talking about a pretty darn profitable company. So, all of the talk about, it would be, as far as next year, 2025, it would be the largest grossing pro wrestling company in history other than WWE. And it would actually be larger than WWE was until the Austin era. And it would be, and inflation is kind of like, makes that sort of a misleading statement. But as far as profitability goes, it would be the most profitable company that there's ever been in pro wrestling, except for WWE, which Tony Khan pretty much did say would be.
There's a small reference to AEW possibly accounting for inflation, the highest grossing wrestling company, higher grossing than Steve Austin in WWE. He then said it'll end up being the second most profitable promotion of all behind AEW, which Tony Khan's pretty much said as much. So what new information are you giving us about the TV deal? What are you talking about? There's been nothing in this other than speculation.
The case over the course of the deal. So, all kinds, as far as like, it's a successful business. It's a very, very successful business.
That's not what we're talking about, dude.
I just want to go through, we have a bunch of questions on this subject, and let me just get through.
No. We're not going to listen to a bunch of questions and answers on the subject. That 8 minutes is 8 minutes of my life I can't get back. Holy shit, guys. I don't even know what to say. I can't believe that there are people out there that pay money for this content. I can't believe that there are people who make their living working for this man. It's great that they do. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but it's just, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely incredulous. The level of word salad, the use of gish galloping, the use of whataboutisms, drawing inferences from things that aren't really relevant to the topic at hand. I know very little about the upcoming AEW TV deal. I probably know as much as, any avid fan that's probably following right now. I feel like I have just watched or listened and watched to 8 minutes of Dave Meltzer discussing that new TV deal, and I feel like I now know less about that deal than I did beforehand. I felt like it was a mix of word salad and then trying to draw imaginary points of comparison between the AEW television rights and the WWE television rights, which you can compare them in some ways, but I'm sure they're both under completely different types of deal. One's a publicly traded company and a corporation. The other is a private company held by the Khans. So I don't know what has happened to Dave Meltzer. I don't know if he's always been like this all the way back since the early 80s, and people are only just noticing it now because of the rapidity and the frequency at which we exchange information now. But there was so many words in that 8-minute discussion there and almost nothing of substantive insightful value. I just can't believe that this guy just continually spews out stuff, and there seems to be no factual basis or factual citation that can be pointed to back up anything of what he says. That's the end of Jooseys Corner for today. Let me know in the comments below what you think about AEW's TV deal and about Dave Meltzer. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, you can like, comment, and subscribe to our non-wrestling sister channel, Slam Society Extra. That's Extra with an X, if you're interested in video game content. But until next time, I've been Jooseyboy, this has been Joosey's Corner, and I'll see you down the road.